Hello and welcome to this Come to Jesus Daily Devotional. I trust you are well, and today we continue in the Gospel of Luke. Let's read from Luke 7:39 to 47. When the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, I just want to interject that he saw this woman anointing his feet with her tears and with this perfume and his accepting of her. When he saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, and that she is a sinner. Jesus answered him, Simon, I have something to tell you. Tell me, teacher, he said. 2 people owed money to a certain money lender. One owed 500 denarii, the other 50. Neither of them had the money to pay him back, so he forgave the debts of both. Now, which of them will love him more? Simon replied, I suppose the one who had the bigger debt forgiven. You have judged correctly, Jesus said. Then he turned toward the woman and said to Simon, do you see this woman? I came into your house. You did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman, from the time I entered, has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love has shown. But whoever has been forgiven little loves little. Today we're reflecting on the idea that our attitude to others reveals our understanding of God and the gospel. I remember many years ago having parents in a different church, I hasten to add to the one I'm in now, having parents being very concerned about a young person coming into the church community and going to the youth work whilst I understood their concerns about this worldly teenager mixing with their children, I also couldn't help being perplexed that we would feel more threatened than we were hospitable and nurturing toward a young person who needed to be welcomed. That's not true of everyone. It was just a few people felt very threatened and let me know about it. So none of us are beyond self-righteousness and forgetfulness of how God saved us in our sin and continues to be gracious to us in our ongoing sin. How we treat or think of others is a great revealer of our understanding of God's grace. This woman has come to understand that God is one who cancels debts. However, these religious leaders condemn this sinful woman, likely a prostitute, because they didn't think they were sinners. And although we're told that Simon says these condemning things to himself, Jesus was fully aware of his condemning attitude toward this woman and toward Jesus, towards himself. Jesus knew his thoughts. He knows our thoughts and attitudes. And Jesus confronts Simon with, Simon, I have something to tell you. And he proceeds to tell him this parable of the 2 debtors. They both have a debt that cannot be paid. One owes 500 denarii, roughly a year and a half's wages, while the other owes 1/10 of this, 50 denarii, which is still 50 days' wages, but neither can pay. They're both bankrupt. Jesus' point is to level everyone as sinners, even those who seek to obey God by keeping his law, have an unpayable and condemnable debt to pay to God, just like this woman who may well be a prostitute. We are being taught to behave like our debt-paying God. As God has been gracious to us, we are to treat others. We are to love and forgive as we have been loved and forgiven. So in response, our attitude to others reveals our understanding of God and the gospel. A great measure of how well we understand God and the gospel is to be mindful of how we treat others, particularly those who offend us. We may be very upset by others' objectionable attitudes and lifestyles, but fundamentally, do we love and have concern for them? As those who have experienced immeasurable grace, we are being called to do, as we read earlier in this gospel in Luke 6:36, 5-36, love your enemies, do good to them, lend to them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, because He is kind to the ungrateful and wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. God bless you.